What's going on, everyone? So I want to kind of talk about the center rotation momentarily, right? Because say momentarily, because who knows? Lakers could end up trading Maxi Kleber, or they had Jaxson Hayes waive his no trade clause, so could they include him in a package at some point down the road? Right? You kind of look at this team and like, what are the two kind of biggest needs that stand out? And it's like the starting like legit 3-and-D wing and a backup center would be nice. Now, I'm somebody personally that the backup center, I think, is kind of least priority, right? I'm even okay if the Lakers just don't go upgrade the backup center position, right? Because the difference between, say, like a Nick Richards and a Jaxson Hayes is very minimal, right? Like you look at starting caliber centers, right? Like Nikola Jokic, the margin, the gap between him and even like an Alperen Sengun is astonishing, right? Like, but backups in the league, they're very minimal because of the role and opportunity and whatnot, right? Unless a backup ends up having to be a starter for, like Jaxson Hayes ended up having to be a starter for a large majority of the season, which I didn't like. I wasn't a fan of. He filled the role nicely during the regular season, but he was a guy that you knew once you get to the playoffs, certain things start to get exposed, and he ended up getting exposed. But come playoff time, right, the idea is that De'Andre Ayton's going to be playing the center position probably 35 minutes a night. Right? Lakers are probably going to sprinkle in some small ball here and there depending on the matchup. Right? So you're only going to be looking for your backup center to play, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes a night, if that, depending on how everything kind of matches up and plays itself out. If they don't play small ball and stuff, or how many minutes do they keep Ayton down, right? So to me, like the backup center, we've seen Jaxson Hayes be able to fill and play that role during the regular season as the starter. It's likely that he only improves and gets better, especially now that I have a full offseason training camp and then now a preseason and regular season with Luka Doncic, so he can kind of continue to grow and develop and build that chemistry. That's why I didn't mind the Jaxson Hayes signing. Now, I always, like I said, I look at Jaxson Hayes as a limited role center. He's a guy that I want in there for, 15 minutes a night tops. Because anything more than that, you really start to see the holes and the flaws. Now, it's very possible that, again, he kind of continues to improve, and maybe I'm like, no, he is a quality backup center. Right? Maxi Kleber, he has familiarity with Luka Doncic, gets that floor spacing big. And if you heard the report, like in Luka, or Rob Pelinka talked about it, but his conversation with Luka about like what Luka was looking for, right? He wanted a pick and pop center, and he wanted a shot blocking center. Obviously, the lob threat too. Well, Ayton potentially could solve all of that. So Ayton gives you the pick and pop, right? Because he can knock down the 15-footer, not like the pick and pop to the three-point range, but if you want that, that's where Maxi Kleber gets slotted. Maxi Kleber can come, spread the floor to the three-point area, and then he can kind of be that pick and pop guy. So you can run some action with Luka and Maxi Kleber, run kind of, mid action with De'Andre Ayton, and then Jaxson Hayes can kind of just be that full lob threat hustle guy. And then De'Andre Ayton, he's a guy that it said himself, he wants to be a better shot blocker, and he wants to be a better rim protector, and wants to buy in more on the defensive side. Now, it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to actually commit and do it game after game after game, possession after possession after possession. But if he does, then Lakers might have everything that they need at the center position. My thing that with the center spot is I look at the center spot as I think it's fine, right? It all is predicated on De'Andre Ayton and his health, right? But that's every team in their starting center period, right? Like, if Jokic plays 20 games this year, which knock on wood, you never want to see, but if Jokic plays 20 games this year, Denver's cooked, right? Like it's how it is for every team that has a starting center, right? Like Joel Embiid, if his knees are really shot, that's it. Sixers are cooked. You look at these teams, you look at these situations. So, again, you should never make decisions solely based on injuries. Now, there are calculated risks and there are, educated understandings, right? Like somebody like a Robert Williams. You have to, when you're bringing him in, you have to be mindful that the guy's only going to give you 20 games a season. To me, if the Lakers can solve the backup center position in the mix of, right, like the Portland trade, if you can get a Robert Williams and a Matisse Thybulle, sure. But I don't want the Lakers just to go trade for Robert Williams, Right? I don't want the Lakers necessarily just go trade for Nick Richards. Right? Like, I just think their assets are better allocated elsewhere, and you have other needs that could be more pressing that I think you should go and solve. As long as DeAndre Ayton is healthy and fine, you're going to be very good at the center position. You're not going to have to worry about the center position. And if Ayton plays 55 games, we know Jaxson Hayes can fill in for the other, 27 games. And then you have Maxi Kleber still, and then you still have Christian Koloko, who can come in off the bench and kind of play a role for you, right? So, and he can play up to 50 games. So I think the Lakers are fine as far as the center position goes through the course of the regular season. And again, once you get to the playoffs, as long as DeAndre Ayton is healthy and good, which, again, that's any team, then the Lakers should be fine. Now, that doesn't, like, if the opportunity presents itself, right, then take it. If for whatever reason, let's just use an example. Let's say Utah, Danny Ainge hits his head and is like, all right, we'll trade you, Walker Kessler. Right, then sure, you probably do something like that, figure it out, right? Like, it depends on what presents itself. But just to like go out and act of like, hey, we're gonna find that backup center, we're gonna give up the assets, and we're gonna do X, Y, and Z. I just don't think the Lakers should do that. I think your priority should be solving that perimeter help, fixing that, and then once that's done, whatever you have left, if you want to make that other move, then you go make that move for a backup center. Unless you could kind of, like I said, do it in like one swing. Blazers trade Matisse Thybulle, Robert Williams. It's like, okay, you're getting a 3-and-D wing or guard wing, and you're getting a backup center that can come in and play a role, right? So it's like, okay, perfect, that works, right? But I think the Lakers have enough, dynamic bigs to where I think they'll be fine. You got different looks. Max Kleber allows you to stretch the floor, and you could even slot him in at the 4, so you kind of do like an Ayton and Kleber and kind of have some unique lineups in that regard. Right? You can get creative. You can do certain things. Like even like what does Jaxson Hayes and DeAndre Ayton look like out there, right? Especially with DeAndre Ayton's ability to stretch the floor and knock down kind of that mid-range, that 15-footer, right? Maybe you can have some actions with that, right? Like, again, you can be creative, you can experiment, try different things, get different looks, get different lineups out there. Obviously, if you trade Maxi Kleber at some point in some type of trade or some type of move, say an Andrew Wiggins trade or something, then sure, like, maybe then at that point you're looking to maybe go, but that would be more of a specific big, right? Maybe you're bringing in like a Kevin Love at that point because he wants to be a Laker, right? So to me, I look at the center position and I'm like, I think we're fine, right? Again, if you could upgrade it in the mix of things, then fine, upgrade it in the mix of things. But I don't think it's something that the Lakers need to necessarily kind of like run to the door to go do, fix and resolve. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.